You're the first one on. We had a lot of people at the end of last week's stream. It was kind of weird. Like 30, I think our peak was at the end of the stream with Bruce here. It must have been Bruce. Everybody wanted to see Bruce. Hey Bruce, are you home safe? Paul Meyer, what's going on? Tony, good to see you. From Finland, awesome. You see the Northern Lights every summer? It's summer, right? The Northern Lights? Or is it winter? Probably all year round. I don't know. Yeah, Paul's probably always there lurking. We're going to continue working on interval, some of our intervals, just to kind of give you an overview. Maybe I'll try to finish them out, and then I want to, more important almost for me has always been trying to figure out chord progressions. Single notes, a lot of times with individual notes, if there's a melody or something, you can figure it out kind of one note at a time. But when there's a bunch of chords, it's like, where do you begin? Especially if there's no bass note. Like, it helps a lot if you have a bass note. You can kind of hear where you're starting. But if I do, that's the exact same progression. But if you heard the lowest note of each of those chords is, so that you would be deceived if you thought it was C, A, G, and F. It would be a C chord and an F chord, but the other two chords are inversions, meaning that the root is not the lowest note. When someone says a chord inversion, that means that the root is not in the bass. Yeah, I mean, you could still call root inversion an inversion, but if I were to take a C chord and put an E in the bass, that would be first inversion. If I put a G in the bass, that would be second inversion. And you could do that with chords. So there's three inversions there. Root, root, first, second, root, first, second, root, so on and so forth. And so sometimes a first inversion might sound like a minor chord, or a second inversion might sound like a minor chord if you're not familiar with it. Like if I play that chord, it's like that's F major, but it's a first inversion F major. So you hear that A and C, and you think, oh, A minor, but that's A minor. Here's F major. So learning to hear those major minor tonalities is really helpful, and we may work on that today too. I'm not sure how far we're going to get. Hey, John, long time no see. You got a lot of catching up to do. Yeah, we're going to keep doing ear training. Hey, Pepper. Kathy Short, what's going on? Let's see. Oh, hey, Brad. Good to see you, man. Brad, you should post that. I don't know if you can. You can, if you want to, you can post that video, that driftwood guitar video if you want. Try to post it, you know, do a copy and paste it. It may not, I may have to approve it, but I totally will. So people can link to it and see it. Bruce got a really nice driftwood guitar. I'm assuming it's made from driftwood. I need to come and hear it. Yeah, everybody's doing a working lunch today. So. Okay, so the last few weeks we've gone over different intervals. We've done major seconds, we've done major and minor seconds. All right, and those are pretty easy to hear. The minor second, no matter where I play it, you know, sounds kind of clustery. Even if I play it in unison. I mean, at the same time. If I play it one after another, you might not necessarily hear that as a half step, but so minor second is the same thing as a half step. One fret on the guitar. A major second would be the start of chopsticks. And so you might hear it if you hear them at the same time. You played unison. You might hear that. It's a little easier if they're apart, of course. And like I said, there's lots of great apps that you can get that will train you, and you just keep working the seconds, and then you go. Then it takes you to the thirds. And I think a lot of the apps will do the thing where it's like they'll separate the notes. And then once you graduate from separated notes, being able to recognize thirds, minor thirds from major thirds, then they'll play them unison at the same time. And then you can start to separate them in your head or just recognize them. Wow, 3,000-year-old Sitka spruce top. I think I saw that in the video, yeah. Okay, so we left off last week with fourths and fifths. And a fourth was the wedding march. The fifth, I always think of, well, power chords for one thing. If they're unison. If they're being played at the same time, I think power chord. If I hear them separated, I kind of think of O-E-O from Wizard of Oz. It has a very, we talked about this last week, kind of a regal sound because bugles, and you see those, there's a word for those horns, like descant horns or something. The really long ones that don't have any valves on them that they use for like, you know, when the king comes in and they've got flags draped from them. Those are just the overtone series. So they can basically just play, they're probably different keys, they'll be flat or whatever. But they can just play, they can usually play like, they can usually play two triads, two major triads, and maybe the seventh. If you blow really hard, you can get that seventh out of it. It's basically the same kind of thing as a guitar, the harmonics on a guitar. So we got E, B, E, G sharp, B. There's the dominant seventh. So when the bugles are being played, it's all overtones. Like, it's just all based on how hard you're blowing into the horn creates the overtone. Or maybe it's your embouchure. I'm not sure, but I think it's the how hard you blow into it. But anybody, I've never played bugle before. I have blown through one and gotten different tones out of it, but I'm pretty sure I got it by blowing harder. I don't know. But like when you have those like tubes and you spin them and you go faster. The pitch goes higher. I used to do that with goosenecks for music stands, for mic stands. Remember the goosenecks? You don't really see those anymore. But you could blow into those things, and the harder you blow, the higher the pitch goes, and it follows the overtone series basically. You could get to that dominant seventh. Yes, yeah, they're used at the start of the Kentucky Derby. Yeah, they're used. You know, I mean, there are guys that play them clearly for those kind of scenarios. But yeah, exactly right. And then bugle, you know, like if you listen to like taps or reveille in the Army, those are done by bugles, and bugles don't have valves on them. Probably maybe because they predate the trumpet, but also maybe because when you're at war, you're not going to want to carry a heavy trumpet around, and also it's probably going to break. So, although the thing about bugle, if you can play anything on a trumpet that you can play on a bugle, you don't even have to valve anything. You just, you know. So I don't know how they do it. It's pretty fast how they can get those pitches out. But thanks, Bruce, for taking care of all the paperwork here. AI separates the notes exactly. Anybody have any thoughts on the new Beatles song? I saw Rick Beato's video on it. Kind of really more of a new John Lennon song, but that's not unusual for the Beatles. So I wouldn't really criticize it at all for that, because you think about like, what was it? You know, Let It Be was Paul, but the Beatles played on it. Here Comes the Sun was George, but the Beatles played on it. Here, you know, was it? I Am the Walrus was John, but the Beatles played on it and contributed to it and had ideas and stuff like that. So the process was probably not much different than it would have been back in the 60s. So I wish they'd gone to Abbey Road to record it, though. That would have been more fun. I thought the song was nice. Yeah, I thought it was a good song. It sounded definitely like a John Lennon song. It kind of, I guess he wrote it in 74 is what Yoko said. So it's not quite Double Fantasy era. It did have a little bit of Double Fantasy vibes to it, to my ear. Rick Beato's only real complaint was that the drums and the piano sounded too modern, and the bass. They didn't really go for that Beatles sound, which, I mean, if the Beatles were to say they were all alive and they got together today to record an album, they would do it with a modern sound. They wouldn't like go back and record everything the same way they did back in the 60s. So I don't really see that as a valid. Sonically, it's a little weird when you compare it, say, to something from, you know, from Rubber Soul or something. But yeah, okay. So we left off at fourths and fifths. All right. I don't think we did a tritone. A tritone is you can either think of it, so I'm playing C and F. There's our wedding march, right? So you can raise that F to F sharp, and you would call that an augmented fourth. Or you can also call it a diminished fifth. So if you go to the 5, which would be G, it was 75. Yeah. I may do a video on were the Beatles overrated, because I've actually been compiling data and stuff for that. And I'm primarily going to try to address the music, not so much the culture aspect of the Beatles. But the culture largely created the opportunity for the Beatles. And so I feel like that's worth mentioning. But more what I'm going to talk about is contextually, you know, the Beatles move things along so quickly. And so, yeah, I would say they're not overrated. I don't think there's any artist or band that's ever done that moved the culture needle, but mainly the musical needle, so hard and so much as the Beatles did in just a few short years. Probably, you know, that's why they're still thought of so highly. So, okay. Oh, Tom, I've read and heard that the best way to learn and feel different intervals, diatonic major scales, think of a part of a song. Yeah. Yep. No, we've talked about that. Like I said, the wedding march, you can, like the sixth. Oops, sorry. The NBC thing. That's C A F, but starts with a major sixth. I have not heard the new Stones record. I'm shocked they came out with another one. But it's cool that they did. They're like they've always been together. They never broke up. Crazy. They just like a week after the Beatles were formed, they pretty much were formed. It almost very very concurrent bands. Okay, so there's a fourth. There's a fifth. Okay, now I'm just going to do these three for now. You don't need to type in. Okay, you don't need to chat the interval. I just want you to try to see if you can. I'll play it, give you a second to think about it, and then I'll tell you what it is. And we're just going to do those three in that key. So there'll be some familiarity. You should be able to start to hear things without having, I'm not going to change keys yet. I will change keys in a second here. Okay, here we go. One more time. That's a fifth. C to G. And that's a fourth. C to F. Oh, weird, because I watched the documentary last night on making, they said 74, I thought. That's weird. Okay. Anyway, so maybe it is 77. Okay, here we go. See, that one sounds weird. So that's got to be, and you can call it a diminished fifth or an augmented fourth. Both would be correct. There's no real correct answer there between those two answers. You could also call it a tritone if you want, because that pitch is exactly halfway between the octave. All right, here we go. Ready? Yes, that's right. That's a fourth. Okay, here we go again. Ah, tritone. Correct. Probably blood pressure medicine too. That's a fifth. Okay, now I'm going to change keys. We're going to do a couple different keys here, all right? You ready? If you have perfect pitch, this is easy. Okay, that's a fourth. All right, let's see. Why is that note so quiet? And that's a perfect fifth. All right, here we go. Yeah, and that one's pretty easy in the context of these three intervals because it's the one that sounds the weirdest. So a tritone or a diminished fifth or an augmented fourth. And just if you want to know, it's a B flat to E. And you can get your guitar out. I'm fine with you having your guitar out and trying to find it on the guitar. For a couple reasons. One, you're starting to learn the intervals and recognize intervals as they appear on the guitar. Fourths, fifths, tritones, whatever interval we're doing. Secondly, usually when I'm trying to figure out something, I've got a guitar in my hand, right? So for me, I'm a lot faster with a guitar in my hand than if I am just like closing my eyes trying to hear the interval and going, that is a minor 7 flat 5 chord. It's, if I had a guitar in my hand, for some reason, even if I don't touch the guitar, it just have the guitar in my hand, I can visualize that chord on the fretboard. So I think that I don't have a problem with that. So if you want to use your guitar to figure out the notes, totally do that. All right. Let's see. All right, I'm going to give you a couple more here. Yep, that's a fourth. F to B flat. Here we go. Okay, that's a fifth. F sharp to C sharp. All right, let me give you another one here. Right, you're right. It's exactly what it sounds like. The devil's tone. Another word for the tritone. But you can't make a dominant seventh chord without a tritone. Like a C7, that's the third and the seventh of a C7 chord. And that with that chord comes tension and release. All right. Hey, Chappie, what's going on? I can tell everybody's got the guitars in the hand. Okay, let's do a couple more. Okay, this time I'm going to play them unison. I'm going to play them at the same time. So I'm not going to separate them. So you're going to have to separate them. Hopefully you can hear okay. Hopefully my piano's loud enough. All right? But I'm going to start with C. So it's going to be either C, C and F sharp, or C and G. Okay, here we go. So find a C on the guitar and then see if you can find the top note. All right. That was a fifth, by the way. This is a tritone. Thanks, Bob. Okay, I tried to trick you. That's another fifth, C and G. That's a C and an F, so there's a perfect fourth. All right. Okay, tritone again. All right, here we go. I'm going to change notes now, so we won't have C in the bass. Yep. Yeah, and so, but the lag in the chat is going to be so bad that you might answer the correct answer, but then I've already changed chords. Okay, here we go. Another one here. Actually, I'll talk about the tritone here in a second. Okay, this is a fifth. O-E-O, O-E-O. Like there you can really hear it as a power chord, right? Okay, let's do another one here. Yeah, just because it sounds weird, it's a tritone. You know, we only have three options here: fourth, tritone, or fifth. All right. You can again try to find this on the guitar, but I'm playing them unison at the same time, so you have to separate them in your head. And that's hard with me talking all the time. I'm fully aware of that. Okay. Sorry. That first one, that previous one was a fifth. This is a fourth. Yeah, I know, right? You wish you could see my hands. That would be cheating. All right. One more. Just one more. Here we go. Ready? And you don't need to know the notes. I just need you to know the interval. Okay? So you don't need to know that this is a G and a C sharp. You just need to know it's a tritone. Does that make you understand? Now, if you have your guitar in your hands, you can figure out the notes, and that's fine too. All right. All right, let's talk about the perfect sixth. I mean, major sixth. Okay. For one thing, major sixth The inversion of a, so I'm playing C to A. So I'm going up 6 notes in the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I get to the A. That's the major sixth. If I finish out the scale, I've just got 2 more notes to go. That's A to C. That is the inversion of C to A. So C to A is a major third, major sixth, okay? And A to C is a minor third. And that's always the case with the minor and major inversions, or minor and major intervals, is that their inversion is the opposite. So if it's a major inversion going up, to finish it off, it's going to be a minor inversion to get you to the full octave. And it's good, the total number is going to add up to 9. All right, so like C to A is a major sixth, and A to C is a minor third. So major, minor, and then 6 plus 3 is 9. If we did it with the major third, C to E is a major third, E to C is a minor sixth. So we have major interval and then a minor interval, and they add up to 9. 3 plus 6 is 9. Okay, so we're on the 6th, and I always hear NBC there. So if you hear them separate, oops, you might very likely hear that song. Okay, so the let me look up, see if I can find something here where it has yeah. So here, there's a bunch of websites, and so major sixth. Let's get to the major sixth and see what else we have besides NBC. I forgot about. So my Bonnie lies over the ocean. Okay, you could hear that. And then the same for a minor sixth. Oh, nobody knows the trouble I've seen. Oh, that would be backwards. Oops, that's right. Right? Nobody. Oops, nobody knows. Nobody knows. I'm playing a different key than it's written. That would be backwards. But they're saying for a minor sixth, the entertainer. Oh, thanks, John. Now, the thing about sixth, and then we're going to bring guitar into this, okay? Because to me, that's also important. You know, it's funny, I got this website up, and if I click away from it, look how much. It's a very white website. It's all white with a little bit of text on it. I can send you this. It's just music notes, copy. I can post this here if you want to see it. Totally fine. Ooh, that's a lot of. That's too many. What the heck? Let's see if I can make. It was like a 200. Yeah, this will work. Copy. It was like a 232 character URL. It's like ridiculous. John, did you? Okay. Okay. So sixth. Let's bring a guitar. Sixths are so common on guitar. We use them all the time to create kind of a country sound. Okay. So speaking of Beatles, right? So that would be that's a major sixth. All of those are major sixths. And they don't sound like that when you're playing them in the context. That sounds like, oh, I went minor sixth. No, that would be. That's still a major sixth. That's a major sixth. That's a minor sixth, which is ironic because that's the major chord. got the third and the root of the G chord there. So you want to kind of resist the temptation to assume that if it's a minor 6, it's going to have a minor sound. Now, when I'm playing that, it C to A flat, it definitely sounds it. But if I play that in the context of an A flat chord, I'm playing A flat, C, E flat, and A flat. So there's our C to A flat. Now it sounds like a major chord. If I did it there, or I did it here, in the context of an A minor chord, that C to E that C to A could sound very minor sounding. And that would be like that. C to A. Now, when you hear the NBC theme or whatever, that actually predates NBC. I'm just playing an F triad. This is an F chord. Take the D shape, slide it up to the 5th fret, and you have a little F triad. C, which is the 3rd, F, which is the root, and A, which is the third. Don't worry. There won't be a quiz on this. Okay. So actually there will be a quiz on this, but not that particular snippet there. Okay. So the minor, like I said, the sixths just play a really common role on the guitar. They're very, very common on guitar playing. One thing it's kind of fun to do is to take, let's see, we're in the key of G. Instead of playing the 6 there, instead of playing this, like, all right, there, which let's learn that right now. So 2nd finger on the 4th fret of the 3rd string, and then 1st finger on the 3rd fret of the 1st string. Okay, and there's our BG. That's a minor 6th, and then I go up here. That's a major 6th. I'm at the 5th fret. Then I'm at both fingers at the 6th fret, and both fingers at the 7th fret. So I went from a little G triad here, outlining this little G triad, to outlining this little G triad. So both these are G chords. And all I'm doing is kind of a triplet, where I'm hitting the low note, the high note, the low note, and then again the low note, the high note, the low note, low note, high note, low note, low note. Okay, but if we take that same lick, and it feels exactly the same if we go up to the 8th fret. So we're at the 9th fret and the 8th fret on the 4th string and on the 2nd string. All right. So I'm starting at 12, 12, and notice I'm on the 4th string and the 2nd string, not the top string and the 3rd string. Try doing that. Notice I'm using my 3rd and 2nd finger, and then I'm going down to my 1st and 2nd finger. Another Beatles song that kind of ends like that. But it's a very guitar-y kind of thing to do. Well, here's the little fun trick you can do. Because the B note is in the key of G, you can pull off. So I'm hitting that B note there, which is the same as the open B string, by the way. And then I'm hitting the G note on the what is that, the 8th fret of the 2nd string. And then I'm going up a fret, and I'm pulling off to that. And those are the kind of things that sound flashy when you get them down fast, but they're not particularly hard. Create some interesting clusters too. But that's a little trick you can do. You could do it technically. You just have a different fingering for the sixth on the fifth string and the third string. So in other words, if I played B and G here, I play it here on these two strings. And so now, if I'm going to play it on these two strings, it's spread out like this. And then if I go back to, let's see, what do I want? I want E. Wait, no, what? B. Same. So you can do it there. Because that D string is part of the G chord too. I've never done that one. Anyways, so that's a little bit of guitar application of the sixth interval. All right, so let's do some tests. I'm just going to give you a major sixth and a minor sixth separated in the key of C. You should be able to hear the difference. I'm just going to go back and forth. We're going to go major, major, major sixth. All right. Minor sixth. Okay, you hear the difference there? Sorry, for some reason my... Oh, it is. Okay. Okay, here we go. Major sixth. Minor sixth. And if it definitely has kind of that minor sixth again, kind of definitely has a weird kind of diminished sound to it, right? Even though it's part of this major triad. It doesn't sound like it when you isolate it, or especially when you compare it to the major sixth. And that's probably always going to be the case. A major second, a minor second is going to sound weird. A major third, minor second is going to sound weird. You know, so the same thing with a sixth and a minor sixth. All right. That's the Beatles song, but in a different key. The original would be. So that's that major sixth sound. So you can think of that song, I suppose, instead of the NBC. All right, and then minor sixth. Is that what they're saying that sounds like? Is that the melody that well, it's in a different key, but what do they have here? Oh, hey, Jude. Oh, that's a minor second up. Yeah, Amazing Grace is a perfect fourth. Oh, come ye all ye faithful. Oh, come all. That's a backwards fourth. Yep. Tritone is the Simpsons theme. The Simpsons. Yep. Let's see, what do they have? Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Yeah. And then Meet the Flintstones. Oh, Flintstones. Yeah, that's a fifth. Okay, so the minor sixth, so it's in the key of C. No. Yeah. Yeah, so that's the original key, I guess. And so we're doing. I don't know that you would hear. I don't know that I would hear the Entertainer, but maybe you might. Everybody's kind of different. And again, I don't have a problem with you having a guitar. I don't care if you have your piano set up. Major sixth, minor sixth. All right, I'm going to change key now. I'm going to play the notes at the same time because we're just dealing with major and minor. You should be able to hear it, but again, the context could be a little weird because you might start to go, oh, wait, that sounds like a minor sixth. Okay, here we go. Ready? That's a minor sixth. Charlie, question for the end. When I press another 12th fret and then I put my finger on the weird sound. Yes, I did. That's right, Bruce. You can check out last week's lesson. I've unboxed it. I still haven't. I've been insanely busy. It's just been really busy around here. Okay, sorry. That's a minor sixth. Enough of minor sixth. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Separate. Try to hear the low note. See, a little easier when I separate them to hear the interval, right? That's a major sixth. Oh, Marvin Hamlish, that's what you heard, The Entertainer. Actually, it was Scott Joplin who wrote it, but yeah, Marvin Hamlish, I think, probably made it pretty famous, right, for the movie. I think he scored that movie, but he used a lot of Joplin music in it. Marvin was kind of known for playing that stuff, too. Okay, sorry, let me find another sixth here. Hold on. Oh, you're fine, Hero. Or here, Charlie. Okay, that was a major sixth. All right. And this is a minor sixth. Okay, I'm going to go back to C. Major, minor sixth. Okay, major sixth, minor sixth. All right, let's do a major seventh. Check this out. That's a great interval. I love that interval. I use that all the time. It's the seventh of a major seventh chord. I'm playing C and B. I think, is that Star Trek? Let me scroll down here if that's one of the ones they used. Take on me. Wait. I guess that, yeah, that would be take on, no wait, what? Take on me. Huh. I don't know about that one. That one's not going to resonate. But somewhere from the minor seventh. So that, oh man, what key are we in here? Yeah, somewhere. But here, so major seventh, you're one note, one half step away from the octave. See, I hear Maria there. They're going to use somewhere from West Side Story. What would you use? Maria, I just I don't know. I hear that, I think. But I use that. That's a cool interval. I just love it. And then the dominant seventh, or the minor seventh, is part of the dominant seventh chord. You can't make a dominant seventh chord without a minor seventh. So it's also a hugely usable interval. Major seventh, minor seventh. Major, minor. Now, the inversion of the major seventh is a minor second. C to B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the last bit is just a half step or a minor second. It's that cluster sound that we. But when we do a minor seventh, the inversion of it is B flat to C. That's a major second, right? So is that right? No. Something like that. That's a great theme. Oh, did I pin the Discord? Oh, I did. Okay, yeah. Yeah, if you don't have Discord, that's fine. But yeah, sometimes I post stuff up there. So we've pretty much got, the only interval left we haven't done is the octave. Okay, but, okay, so on guitar now, let's look at the 7th chord. So if you play a C chord, like an open C chord, and you take off your first finger, that's a C major 7 chord. That interval there from the 5th string to the 2nd string, so C note, the root note, to the open B string, is a major 7th. And I use this as a great example of how something dissonant, and I'm sure I've used it here before, something like that sounds so dissonant until you hear until you fill in the rest of the notes. Or sorry. So there's a major 7th. Ooh, that's rubs, right? But then the rub goes away when you hear the rest. Isn't that interesting? I love that. So, whoops. It's like, whoa, that's kind of dissonant. And then you, oh, that's beautiful. What do you do? Are you mad at me? Oh, do you love me? Are you mad at me? Do you love me? It's kind of like that. It's like the weirdest. It's just a cool interval, you know. But I even like playing like C, E, B. It just sounds really cool. Okay, now if we play a C chord and we put our pinky and make a C 7th chord, that B flat there, I'm playing the 3rd fret of the G string. Minor 7th interval is crazy. Oh, it's fine. Bruce, I can kind of hit it right now, I think. So I took it out of this guitar last time I put new strings on it, but or maybe a couple times ago. But I would often have I have foam under the strings behind the nut because I would hear that ringing out, especially if I had headphones on. If I had earbuds, you know, I had my headphones on and I was tracking and the microphone's kind of loud and I hit and I hear all of this. Okay, but that's not what you're talking about. You're talking about this note here is ringing out more than it should be. And that may be you might want to try to practice maybe timing so that your finger hits the note at the same time as the pick. Because if you're going, so you said, what was it? I have, let's see, hold on a second. The original question was way up here. Here we go. When I play notes around the 12th fret and put my finger on frets like the 10th or 11th, my string makes a weird sound. Any tip? Okay, so play a note around 12. And I'm not, exactly sure what kind of sound it's making. But you make it sound like it's the pitch from down here, which is a bigger issue with electric guitar. Actually, there's a good electric guitar out there that has a pickup down here to pick those notes up, but they're not you don't really want those notes, but it creates this weird sound. But on acoustic, you really shouldn't hear too much, like you said, because the sound hole's over here. There's no sound hole over here. There's nothing to really technically resonate. Maybe try if you have a capo, you could get a capo and just put it lightly on there, like that, and see if it gets rid of the sound. That might be part of the issue. You're hearing that, and that will bother me, especially if I'm recording. You can also get one of these string muters. I've seen guitar players with this. Who was it? That really good. Somebody recommended. He's like this kid who's just a monster player, and he plays with his fingers, electric and stuff. But he had one of these on his guitar probably because he had such a light touch or something that he didn't want. I don't even know what this thing's called. I should do a review of it. I use it every now and then when I'm trying to keep that from happening, particularly on electric stuff. If I'm doing like some heavy metal and I want, you'll see these on a lot of heavy metal guitar players. It's like, or if you're in a weird key and you don't want the E naturals to ring out, that's another thing. Like if I'm in the key of B flat, say, if I hit open accidentally or my fingers pull off and they kind of slightly pull off the string and generate vibration, it's really not gonna see. But without this, if I do that, get all these overtones, these notes that are not part of the key, right? So it could be a combination of things. It could be. Now, see, the other thing, probably I don't notice it so much because my left ear is weaker than my right ear. So I don't really hear it as much, but I know, for one thing, when you're playing above the 12th fret, the string is technically longer below your fretted note. So it's more likely to, resonate. Yeah. So yeah, you may want to pick up one of these things. Let me see. It's a string muter. Let me see if I can get you an Amazon link, and if I can, because I bought it from Amazon, and it's not maybe $6 or something. I probably paid $3, but now they're probably raised the price of them, even though they manufactured them 5 years ago. I don't think I don't see any logo or anything on here. I also got a different kind of mute. Yeah, so it's now here you get 2 for $8. I'm not seeing the one. Well, this is kind of the one I got. Oh wait, here's the one I got. This looks like mine. So you don't have to buy this one, but you can if you go for it. If you click on this link, that's technically an affiliate link. So if you buy that thing, I get like 2, 3, 4%, 5%. But it says only 6 left in stock. But if you slide down a little bit, I think you can see a bunch of different companies that make them. You get 2 for the same price. So you could go cheaper. I just bought that one. I don't know why. And I probably didn't pay $8 for it. Like I said, they're just raising the price of everything because they can. But the thing is, if you click on that link and then you go do your Amazon Christmas shopping, thank you. Just so you know, I get a piece of all of that. So, that's always appreciated. So feel free. We're coming up on Christmas. Also, next week, next Monday, I won't be here. I'll decide later if I'm going to do a session on Tuesday, but I have a session and some people coming over, and that was the only time they could do it, so I kind of had to kind of bend to their schedule. So, yeah, no, Charlie, it's and it may be something you're more hypersensitive to than most people are, but I see them enough. Like I said, particularly metal guys will use them because their amps maybe are really loud. And that's one of the things I've always said about Eddie Van Halen was, for one thing, he's a great soloist, but he's a really good rhythm guitar player. For one thing, his feel was great. But he was in a power trio, and he filled up so much music with just one guitar. And the other thing that always amazed me, because I never saw him live, but because I lived in Pasadena, everyone I would meet that was a Pasadena native said, "Oh yeah, he played at my birthday party." Van Halen played my birthday party in my backyard back in the '70s. I'm like, "Oh, that's crazy." But so many of the people in Pasadena that are Pasadenans that live there their whole lives knew Van Halen back in the day, and they said they played so loud. And that is one of my tips for I've got a video. I forget. I think I call it 7 tips or something for gigs. Let me look it up and I'll post it. But that's one of the things I said. You need to spend some time practicing playing loud if that's how you play at the gig. Now, if you're using ears like at church, my cabinet's in another room, and it's closed off and everything. If I were playing live and had an amp in the room and right next to me and was cranking, and yet at home I'm practicing really quiet and I get to the gig, 2 totally different animals. A quiet guitar is going to be a completely different animal, for lack of a better word, than a cranked guitar. And so you're going to so Eddie was really good at muting those strings. Some guitar players have a flip down thing. I've seen those where they flip them down so they can have the strings muted, especially if they're doing like two-handed stuff or whatever, if they don't want the open strings at all. Because then it's harder to mute strings when you're playing. Because a lot of times I'll mute with my right hand or I'll mute with my left hand when I'm playing really loud. And the amp is really loud in the room, and you want to control it. It's like a caged lion. Those strings want to escape and get out and start making all sorts of noise. And so that's one of the things. So news on the gear front. I ordered a Spark amp. Oh, nice. Guitar string mute diameter. Yeah. And I also got this. Saw this on Amazon. I should do it. Not Amazon. Sorry. I found this on Instagram. Alex sent it to me. And basically, everybody's doing those rubber bridge guitars. I think, was it Phoebe Bridgers that did it? Was one of the first to do it. Now Taylor Swift did it. My friend John did a video about it. It's actually his most popular video. This thing just kind of screws onto the strings. You can screw it as tight as you want, and it deadens the strings. And so you can technically still play. It may not be in tune, but I don't have to worry about muting. I could. Usually you would do plug. It's definitely its own sound, it's a kind of cool sound. It's in tune because if you don't tighten it too much, it won't affect the pitch. I don't think it's pretty. I mean, if I move it. That's kind of cool. But if I go down here, it's not quite meeting the. There we go. See, I had it pushed down too far, and it was near the joint instead of on the foam, so you got to kind of keep it centered. So I'll see if I can find this. The funny thing is there's no brand name on it, and it just came, I think it was like $20. It's just a piece of plastic. It's pretty cheap to make, but I'm fine with them making money on it. I don't have a problem with that. Let's see if I can find that thing. I mean, I would call it pretty much the same thing, guitar string mute. Oh, here it is right here. Yeah. So so I just got marketed to. That's basically what it is. Let's see. Yep. So I'll send you a link to this. if you like that sound. It's a totally cool sound. I bought a guitar to turn in. Alex and I are going to turn into a rubber bridge guitar, but I kind of like the guitar, and I kind of hate to do it now. The guitar is that kind of a cool old Silvertone. So I, bought it specifically to use for that, but then it didn't, But again, on that link, if you click on it, if you buy that, I make a little bit of money. If you go crazy shopping for Christmas presents, that's amazing. I always do. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I forget and I order stuff on my phone from Amazon, and then the affiliate link doesn't go through for some reason. So I have to go to my desktop and do it. So yeah, and so for the last 30 days, I've made $13 in commissions from Amazon. Now, probably most of those are from my purchases, but it's I can't tell. So there's the Amazon link for that. All right, now what else have we got going on here? Okay, so again, just let's review interval. The interval theory. We have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. The major C major scale. The first interval, C to D, is a major second. C to E is a major third. C to F is a perfect fourth. C to G is a perfect fifth. Then C to A is a major sixth. And then C to B is a major seventh. And then C to C is a perfect octave. And technically, there's another one. We have C to C. That is hard to do on piano at the same time. On guitar, we can play the two notes at the same time. I mean, the same note twice at the same time. Piano, you can't really do that. So major second, major third, fourth, fifth, major sixth, major seventh, octave. So you don't even need to say perfect fourth or perfect fifth. You can just say fourth and fifth. Now you might want to say diminished or augmented, diminished fifth or augmented fourth for that, okay? You could even do that on guitar if you wanted to, where you play those intervals. Just good to see them on the guitar. You could do, oh, I forgot I had this on. Everybody take a sip. This is kind of like I'm in an alternate tuning. There we go. So this is exactly the thing. And it's just got foam on the bottom and top of this, and it just closes on your strings. It's cool. Totally worth it. Here it's only 16 bucks, so I paid too much for it. So the link I sent you is only 16 bucks. Signal format, it says analog. That's hilarious. Okay, so I could play C to C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. All I'm doing is playing a C major scale. So play that with me. Third fret on the fifth string, then open D string, and then second fret on the D string, and then third fret on the D string, then the open G string, which is your third string, second fret, open B string, and then first fret, full octave there, that's a C. Backwards C, open, B, second fret, A, G, third fret on the fourth string, F, E, which is the second fret, open D, and then root. And so what I'm doing there, I'm just playing the root with each of those. And I'm making all of the diatonic intervals. You want to get the unison. Like I said, it's easy on guitar. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, you can. All right, and that's not a bad little exercise. For one thing, it's just kind of fun to play, kind of noodle around with. It's pretty. It's all Dutch to me. Yeah, Jan is Jan and Dennis are speaking Dutch again. All right. Well, we peaked at what, 31? We're kind of falling off now. What resonator is that in the back? It looks great. You know, that's just a cheap Gretsch one. I used it actually literally yesterday. I have a string lifter on it. It's tuned to open G right now. I used it yesterday on a movie. And I think I've got Elixir strings, which aren't optimal for this kind of use because, you know, it just doesn't sound. But it's actually got a really nice soft sound with Elixir strings on it, which I kind of like. It's kind of warm. I have a steel body one. I think I gave it to Alex. No, did I give it to Alex? I was going to give it to Alex. I have a 1929 National Duolian. Literally, on the recording yesterday, I think I was just playing, what was the song in the key of G? Was it G? Was it G? No, it was B flat. So I was like did some acoustic. It was with harmonica. The 4 chord. And that was like the 3 chords to the 6 chord. Something like that. It was pretty simple stuff. And I've got one of these. This is a Stevens bar. I love the Stevens bar. It's super duper heavy. But it's just a Gretsch. Technically, the model number, I think, here, I can find you I think I can find this on Amazon too, to check it out. Let's see. Gretsch Roots, let's see, model G9220. Let me see if I can find it. And that way, you have nothing else. You can buy one, that'd be great. But I actually really like it. I have a very old one. What did I say? G9120? Or 9220? No, 9220. My short term. Yeah, so it's a resonator. Yeah. Oh, they have the 90. Okay, so they have a 9230, 90. So when I say cheap, you know, I mean, they're not like, here's a Fender version too. Here's a 92. I don't know what the difference of these, but here's 2 of them here. Here's one. This one is $700. I probably paid around $550, $600 for this. I mean, I got it quite a while ago. And I'm not exactly sure. So, but what I did get, so the difference between a resonator guitar and a dobro. No, but Jerry Douglas did not say that. Thank you, though. Jerry Douglas makes me want to quit playing guitar, let alone dobro. This one's cheaper. This one's only $550. And this may be what I got. It looks identical. You'll notice I have some foam. Same kind of thing, right? We were talking about this. That's foam right there. Because this was really ringing out. And the thing is that the way this works is essentially this predates the electric guitar. This is not this one in particular, but dobro and resonator guitars did predate electric guitar. But the notion of a speaker already existed. And so this is basically the strings are mounted to a speaker, but they are mounted at the bridge, and there's a speaker right here. That's why it's round. And so that means pretty much these strings are going to resonate almost as much as these strings, why it's called a resonator. And so I mute those. You might want to get a piece of foam to stick behind there. Not mandatory. I don't know if I see most players do that, but I definitely do it. And one of the things, it does have a pickup in it, which is kind of handy to have if you're playing live. And the pickup, the jack also doubles as a strap pin, but there is no other strap pin. I might put one here if I were ever to play it live. But so it comes as a resonator. The resonator, basically, the idea of a resonator is that you can play it like a guitar. So it can be fretted and played like a guitar. And then a dobro is usually the strings are high up, and the frets may be just markers, not actual frets. Okay. So you want to make sure you want to get one with and a round neck. So this is round neck. My dobro is a square neck because it's intended to be played like this. So they didn't need to finely shape the neck to fit your hand. It's just a square block of wood with fret markers and strings going across it. And that's what my National Duolian is. Did I give you the second one? Did I put both of them up there or just the one? Let me grab this one here. Hey, Russell, what's going on? And so what I got was, so I'll find the string lift, see if I can find the string lifter. This thing's hard to find. Let's see. You can turn any guitar into a dobro with a string lifter, but you could probably make one. I'll show you in a second here. Let me see if I can find dobro string lifter. It's like San Francisco something or what? See, I'm just not. Yeah, I don't. Let me get rid of dobro, put guitar. Yeah, I'm not seeing them. It's so weird. I mean, I should probably start to have these manufactured to sell because I can't, they get like, people don't sell them. I don't know. Anyway, all it is a piece of bent metal. It would be super easy to make. So you can see it right there. See how it's laying against the nut? And that lifts the strings up. So, I mean, I could technically play this without that, with a slide. I might play it more like this with a glass slide, so it's less likely to push the strings down onto the frets. But the nice thing to have about having it lifted like this is that you can really don't have to even think about the frets. Sorry, I don't have anything to put my feet on here. Hold on. Let's see if I can put both my feet on this guitar stand. It kind of works. It's a lot of fun. Jerry Douglas can do just like. I should just sit down, spend a day just practicing doing scales up and down. He can just go so fast. Like he's. I'm faking that. That's total faking. But yeah, I would totally recommend this. And part of the reason why I got this was because it was wood, so it had more of a Jerry Douglas sound to it than my Nationals dobro was all metal, all tin, and has a very, very tinny sound. In fact, it's so old, it's got loose parts, so it kind of rattles. I don't use it very often. The strings on it, I'm sure, are very old. But yeah, it's one of those things that I don't have a case for, so it just ends up hanging on the wall. Most of the things hanging on my wall, I don't have cases for. I have a case for the baritone Telecaster. I have a soft case for the oud. Yeah, I don't have a case for, yeah. I have a soft case for the banjo too. And a soft case for, yeah, some of these things have soft cases. But the problem with soft cases, they don't, in the closet, they just don't stack up very well. Whereas hard cases, you can just line them all up and put tape on them and see them and everything. So anyway, I'm sorry if I'm missing some questions here. Oh, we're climbing back up, 27. Oh, I wonder what wood cones would sound like. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I probably tried it. I mean, I guarantee you people that did the dobro thing, invented the dobro, probably tried 50 or 100 or whatever. Just like, was it Edison did 100, 1,000, 10,000 different variations on the light bulb until he came up with the one that works best. I've already reported a few, but I'm going to go. Nationalist joke. Yeah, it's an oud. It's a flat back oud though. I have a round back. It sounds better, but it's hard to hold. This one's easier to hold. So if it's, most of the time I'm playing oud, it's on a video game. And so there's going to be lots of explosions or something, that kind of thing. So, yeah. Let's see. Good bit of kit. Let's see. So did I put both of those up there? Yeah. Okay. So both those are up there. Yeah. So again, any of those Amazon links, I get a little affiliate money from. It's not a lot, although I think I got like $88 a couple months ago, which was kind of nice. It's always nice to get those unexpected checks in your checking account. The YouTube revenue is way down. It's just, it's about 50% of what it was. I think generally because I have the viewership, I don't have any hits. My one big hit, I'm a one-hit wonder on YouTube. My one big hit is getting older and older and older. And while yet it's still my #1 video, if I click on my YouTube analytics here and look at my #1 video, it's still #1. Let's see, analytics, here we go. But I'm averaging about 5,000 views every 2 days. So that's not a lot to generate a lot of income. But my 7 tips for beginners in the last 30 days has gotten 25,000 views, which is great. And then the next one down is 7,200 views, which is play most any song in open D tune, which I really didn't expect that one to do so well. And then my third most watched one is a bluegrass jam track. And then it's 5 songs with only 2 chords. That's gotten 2,300 views. Let's see. Yeah, my view rate isn't bad. 7 more tips for older beginners. That 41% is pretty long view duration. That's not bad. Most of them are in the 30% range, 25 to 35% range. How to tune your 12 string. Yeah, that's a weird one. I think that was a request. Pretty much all of these are requests. That's why I always like it when you guys make requests videos in either the context in the comments of the videos, which is probably the best way to get my attention because I have my videos, I have comments set to approve all. So I have to prove them all before they go up. So like if I click on my comment tab right now, and I was on this a couple days ago, but it held for review, there's 1. So yeah, so And that was even on one that I didn't monetize. I can't monetize because it was the Bieber, one of the Bieber tracks. So, boom. Someone commented, you can throw the Coles mic in the trash. Yeah, did you guys, any of you listen to the video? To my ears, to be honest, I mean, I didn't. So the most expensive mic was $8,000, and that's a Neumann. Was it the U67? And the cheapest mics, both of them were $99. The Sennheiser, definitely the E609 didn't sound very good. It was very kind of distorted almost, but the 57 sounded pretty good. So the 57 was $100, and the Neumann was $8,000. So was it 80 times better sounding? I would say no. But if you're going to be a professional, you're probably not going to be able to get away with miking acoustic with a 57. You're probably going to have to go to some kind of condenser mic. In the condenser mics, and I put links for all of those in the video, there were 4 condenser mics. So I did 2 dynamics, 2 ribbon mics, which are kind of unusual actually, but ribbons are have made a big comeback in the last 10 years or so. Everybody's into ribbons. The Royer 121 is a common amp mic, but they almost always put it next to a 57 for miking amps. Like if you see a Royer on a guitar amp, they're almost guaranteed they're going to have a separate, like if it's a 412 cabinet, they're going to mic 2 different speakers. Rarely would you use a Royer by itself. You could, totally could. Guitar amps do tend to be on the bright side, and Royers tend to roll off that top because of the ribbon. Also, the AEA ribbon mic, we didn't need a cloud lifter, but there's a thing called a cloud lifter. There's another couple $100 that boosts the volume of some ribbon mics, like a Royer. I think a Coles definitely needs a cloud lifter, and so it doesn't come with that. You have to buy it. That's a separate animal, a separate purchase. But not all of the mics could I have links to, or not, at least not affiliate links. I think a couple mics I linked to, well, mostly I linked to Sweetwater. I think one mic I linked to Amazon, and the others were to Vintage King here in Los Angeles. And they don't have an affiliate program there, so I don't make any money on those purchases. But the my mic, the Gefell, I think they're going for about $1,500, $1,600, $1,700 now. I've had that mic for a while. I really like it. When I included it in the shootout, and I felt like it held its own. I used to have a 414, but I gave mine to Alex because he needed a good acoustic guitar mic. And listening to that, I'm like, oh, I need to get a 414. So I'm going to probably buy another 414 at some point. But again, I'm just kind of it's set up, ready to go. I just go for it. I even took down my 451, which I have. And that was the first condenser mic. So of the 4 condenser mics, I think the 451s are like 600. The 414s are like 1,200. The Gefell's like 1,700. And the Neumann is like, you're definitely getting into a more expensive range. The Neumann is the biggest diaphragm. So it has the diaphragm on this is fairly small, but it's bigger than the 451, but smaller than the 414. All these numbers. So, you know, the diaphragm doesn't necessarily, you can have a giant diaphragm and think, oh, it's going to be bassier. You can have a really small one, it's going to be brighter. Doesn't necessarily always work out that way. I felt like of the dynamic mics, I felt like the 414 was probably the brightest one. And I've always preferred a brighter mic because, even brighter everything, just because it's easier to roll off top end than it is to add top end. Like anytime you turn up the treble on a channel to get more brightness out of something, you can do that maybe 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 dB, but once you get too far, it starts to get a little artificial and brittle sounding. But if you have but rolling off brightness never really ever sounds artificial to me. But that's just a personal thing. So, have I tried the EAD EBE tuning? I have not. Okay, I could try. Yeah, I could try. So you're tuning the G string down to E. All right. I mean, one of the things I like doing is doing a weird tuning and then just messing around with it. I wanted to post that video I did. Let's see. Gig. I think if I just enter gig, it'll come up. My worst gig. Nail your next gig. Oh. Is that the one I did? See, that probably wasn't the best. Yeah, this is the one. Practice standing up, practice loud, minimize nervousness. Yes. So here's that one. Let's see, how is it done? I don't think this video is done very well. Sorry.
Once you see what's in these two.
Okay. Yeah, 900 views. See, the title is not very good. So I feel like that's oh, it's so funny. I've got to log into this. Let's see. I got to log into this. I don't know if I've sold any shirts or anything. Where is? Yeah, I've got a. Oh, here, wait, what? No. It's so funny. I forgot how. I don't know if anyone's ordered any of these mugs. I think I'm the only one that's ordered anything there. So it's funny. I have T-shirts. There won't be a quiz on this. I should order one. But I'm not even. I got to figure out how to log back into my account. There may be money sitting there for me that I got to accept. So let's see what else is going on. What's oh yeah, I've got some work I gotta do, so I'm probably going to sign off so I can get to work. Okay, I did this pretty much down to just 2. Let's see, biggest Holland, yeah. All right. So any other questions? Oh, that tuning. Let me make a note of that. I have a document that I can add ideas to. Here we go. YouTube ideas. Tuning. EADEBE. You said, right? Tuning. I'll experiment with it a little bit. I've never heard of it, so let me Google it and see if anyone else is doing it. Copy. Boop. Okay, some example chords. Somebody's done, 2 years ago. David, I don't know this person. Oh, so somebody did a song with that tuning. Interesting. Is it the same guy? No, it's a different person. Perfect guitar tuner. You said no. Somebody else is just kind of noodling around. Somebody did a guitar tutorial on it. Interesting. Mary Spender did a video, but not on that. Open E. Oh, that's not open E. That's E A E G sharp B E. Well, that's kind of cool. Yeah, so I probably have to tune a guitar like that and just kind of mess around with it and see. Right. It's oh wait, is it different than I thought you? Where was that? Some lessons make you feel like a coyote, Joe. Where was that? I got it right? You said E A D. It was just the G string down. E A D E B E. I mean, it's easy to tune down to. Oops. Wrong string. of the things right away, so I notice, like you said, it's kind of an open E tuning. But right away, I feel like it's kind of like my tie pin. So anything that works on the high E string is going to work on the what is now the middle E string. But I can go to the 4 chord just by hitting the A string. It's going to create a very Lydian sound. It's very pretty. And you got the D chord. So you can kind of create a kind of a E mixolydian sound. Or I could go blues. Definitely kind of a bluesy sound out of it. I like the tension of the string when it's loose like that. You get a lot of wiggle out of it. But when you get that, but the A really makes it, like I said, you can play that. All I'm doing is playing an E major scale here. Play that with me. E, open E, 2nd fret, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, 12. Or whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Whole half, whole half. All right, but now I can do that on the 1st string, but also on the 2nd or 3rd string because it's tuned. And then I have that open B string. I don't even have to do that, I can just do 1 string. But then if I put the A string in the bass, I like it too because you can hammer on the G sharp, right? Not from this. Normally you would hammer on the G sharp onto a G note, but I can go from F sharp to G sharp, which could see where you could do something with it. Right. Second fret on the D string. Well, yeah, if I just played an E minor shape, I've just got a power chord, E5. But play second fret on the D string. No, I must have missed something on the tuning. E, A. Well, Stephen Stills, E, that's funny. Carry on, that's Sweet Judy Bless. Yeah, it made it impossible to figure out that song. Did you see the Paul David video that he got the email from Paul Simon? It was awesome. Actually makes sense too. So that was what song was it? 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover. So was it? Yeah, it's Paul was wrong on a couple chords. It was funny, and Paul Simon had to correct him on it. It's one of the reasons I don't do song tutorials, because I don't want to get demonetized, but also because I've gotten them so wrong in the past. I mean, I've taught. I feel bad. I mean, I'm not going to find all those old students and give them their money back, because everybody played songs that way. But like yesterday, I thought it was an F, but it was in G, turned down a whole step. So I taught it for years in F, and yeah, it was not in F. I mean, it was in the key of F, yeah, but it was using G shapes. I was like, man, Paul's a good guitar player. He could play all this. And then the other, there's so many songs that it was like, oh, like I remember, like I taught Stairway to Heaven for years, and there's, it's just this, with. Then I went back to the top, but actually it goes, hits the open A string at that point. Those are little things you notice when, like you've taught it 15 times, and then all of a sudden, the 16th time you notice, oh, he's hitting the open A string. So yeah, there's so many things like that when you're a guitar teacher. I mean, you're really under the gun. You got 30 minutes to kind of write out a song and teach it to a kid. And I always kind of had them bring in songs so that they would learn stuff that they wanted to learn. And I had students that would stick with me for years. Like if I got them when they were in like 7th or 8th grade, they would stay all the way through until they went away to college, because they just liked learning songs. And that's, I always tried to make sure that they were learning something more difficult. And I had some kids that went into jazz and into classical music and things like that. Do I have any students that, like, I started as a beginner? There was a kid named Scott Houston, and I've tried to find him. Like, he was really good. And it was a weird spelling. It was Huston. And there is a guitar player named Scott Houston out there, but it's not him. He would, let's see. So he probably, but he was good at everything he did. So I'm not seeing him. And the funny thing is now it's like he'd be in his 50s. I mean, when I was teaching, I started teaching at the store when I was, I think 17, and then I moved to California when I was 21, and I quit the teaching at the store. So those kids that were in high school and stuff, I mean, they seemed like they were a lot younger than me when I was 20, but now I'm 62. Scott's probably 58 or something, which is crazy because in my head he's just a little kid. But I remember Scott in particular. I had a couple students like that, and another kid really got good. And then he and his brother were both taking lessons, and they both got good. It was kind of a competitive thing. And they moved to New Jersey, and I can't even remember their names. I wonder if I have any old sheets or anything with, because I did it at a store. Like I have calendars from '87 when I was teaching guitar lessons. I can go, oh, I forgot that person took guitar lessons or whatever. But from teaching at the store, they kept all the records, so I don't really know the names. Um, exactly. Yeah. Oh, I guess. Yeah, that's right. That would be kind of a E sus. Yeah, with the A and the. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't hear it when I played it because I wasn't playing the A string. But so I had the tuning right. Well, that's good to know. So who knows? Maybe I'll do that. Um, so, but yeah, I can't remember what was the name of those brothers. Gosh, but they were like, they were just going into junior high. I think when they moved to New Jersey, so they were in grade school when I was teaching them. But they were like, the one brother in particular was just killing it. I mean, I was showing him classical stuff, and he would take the stuff home and over the week just work it. And so he showed up and he could play it as good as I could, whatever piece I gave him. So it was pretty impressive. I have no way of knowing. I mean, I don't think anyone's remembered my name to mention me. I mean, Scott Houston might, because he was in high school when he was taking guitar lessons from me. But yeah, I'm not. Oh, learning a lot of songs from who? Oh, Jimmy Dillon? No. Um, yeah, and there's some great YouTubers that teach guitar lessons, and they're doing all the graphics and everything like that. And somehow, I think Paul David's, for the most part, if he doesn't play the song too much, he can get away with it. I'm not sure what you can get away with. I'm actually going to do a test where I have a video where I want to talk about were the Beatles overrated. And my opinion is no. But anyway, just so you know. But somebody commented that. I think generally whenever anyone comments that, they're just being a troll. Or they're just ignorant. And so I really only give them those two options. You're a troll or you're ignorant. One of the two. But that's just, you just cannot have been a student of music and not appreciate the impact of the Beatles. But one of the things I want to do is I want to play contextual music. So I want you to hear what were the hits in 1963. Like what was going on musically in 1963 before the Beatles hit the scene. And I shouldn't in any sense need to play more than 10 seconds. I think 5 seconds may be the cutoff. So I'm going to experiment. I'm going to put up a video that's not going to be posted. I'm going to put 5 seconds of a song in it and see if I can get away with that. If I can, then I'm going to try 10 seconds. And if I can't, I'm going to pull it back to 9 seconds or whatever. Try to find that sweet spot where I can play at least a little bit of a chorus of a song so sonically you can hear what was going on in 1962 in Britain and 63 in the US that made the Beatles so special. And the example I will give is that, hey, look, I thought Jimi Hendrix was a hack, because by the time I heard Hendrix, I was a jazz snob. And so I was listening to guys like Wes Montgomery and George Benson and things like that. And Hendrix just sounded sloppy to me. And so I was like, yeah, this guy's just sloppy. I didn't realize contextually what was going on in music in 66, 67 when he came on the scene, and how he was taking guitar, like took it up to 5 different levels and influenced everyone that I loved after that. So, yeah, so that's one of the things. Okay, so boom, boom, boom. Oh, funny. And if Paul did that back in the day, before Paul Davids should have found that and probably would have known, because I know a lot of these guys will do, like Paul Davids did the research on the Sting song that what's his name wrote, and he got that wrong too. In fact, that guy was on with Rick Beato and was saying, yeah, he got it wrong. But he plays it live one way, and in the studio he played it a different way. So you can't really fault him. You listen to the studio version and you go, okay, wow, that's a hard chord to play. How did he do that? Did he detune the E string down to D, or and then the live version, he moves his hand in a certain way. It's like you can kind of watch and see how people play songs. If it's a famous enough song, there's a lot of live versions of maybe the artist playing it. So, Don Felder, Tom Petty. I watched a documentary on Petty. I don't remember that, but that may be very true. Stephen Stills came from there. Yeah, Jacksonville there was something in the water, right? Yes, I agree, Joseph. Learning music theory from songs is a better way to go. A lot of people will do that with, they'll go back and explain why something worked, where they would have said that was prior to that, to a Beatles song maybe coming out, they would have said, well, that you can't use that chord. But the Beatles didn't do anything that Bach. I've been reading through some of the Bach pieces on classical guitar, and of course, if I play them, it'll probably start. It'll say, "Oh, it's copyrighted," even though this music is 400 years old. But what is this? Let's see. So it's an A. So E minor to E7 to A minor. Is that right? E major to D minor to D major, D7, and then G. Let's see, G minor to F, A7, kind of a G minor. 7, C minor, B, A7, D minor, B flat major 7, E7, Bach there was no key center in Bach music. It's like it would end on a chord. In fact, I think on this song it ends on an A minor. Yeah, A minor chord, and I guess it's an A minor. Yeah, this is it technically was even called that. I think no, it just was fugue, just a fugue. But yeah, it's basically A minor. It's I don't know. You may know it if you heard you might have known it from that, but I think the beginning is was it? Where do I play this? That's very A minor. Yeah, and then it starts to get off the reservation at some point where it's like, oh, no, that's not A minor anymore. It's like all over the place. So the Beatles didn't really do anything that Bach hadn't done, harmonically speaking. But yet, and I remember when Charlie Parker kind of came on the scene, and he would play, he was playing a lot of flat nines and flat fives and sharp fives and flat nines, and people were like, those are bad notes. And he's like, they sound good to me. And then a few years later, they're analyzing, well, this is why it works, and this is why it's a good note. The same person that was saying it was a bad note is analyzing and writing books on why it's a perfect note. So, like I said, music's all about tension and release, and Bach was a genius at that kind of stuff. I mean, and then that only plays even more into like film scoring and things like that. I've been listening to a podcast called The Soundtrack Show. I think somebody shared it with me here. Okay, great to see you, Paul. Have a good one. Yeah, Satriani taught Vi. Skolnick and Hammett. Yeah, I know. Isn't that crazy? He taught so many rock players, Satriani. And I think Satriani taught a lot of theory. I mean, Vi is insane. I met Steve Vai through Sheila, the sax player at my church. She played with Dweezil. Dweezil's not really touring anymore, but she toured with Dweezil for like 10 years. And the first year she went out, it was Terry Bozzio on drums and Steve Vai on guitar. And she was out playing sax and keys and percussion. So, okay. So, oh, is that what it was? Okay, so for some reason I always think of Satriani and those guys being from the Bay Area, but they were from Jersey. Isn't that amazing? Something in the water there too. All right, so listen. So we've gotten all the notes. We're going to work on chords next. If we do, so I can't be here Monday. I have a session here. The people are coming over, and I gotta do that. But I may go Tuesday. Stay tuned. Maybe I'll get onto Instagram. I mean, not Instagram. Discord and announce it, and then you can spread the word. But we got a good turnout today. I feel like we solid in the 20s, mid 20s the whole time. Got up to 31 as our peak. So I appreciate you all. Thank you, John. I think is gone, but thank you for the financial support. That is really appreciated. Trust me, it all adds up. And and I got a couple weddings coming up. Going to cost me some money, so I got don't like surprises. Anyway, I hope I'm done. Hope we're all done with this stuff. And we'll see. Who knows what's next? Okay. Anyway, God bless you all. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in either 2 weeks or 8 days, something like that. All right. So take care of yourself. And God bless you all. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Holly. And thank you, Dennis, for moderating. You are appreciated. And thanks for doing all that stuff that you do in there that I do see, but I can't comment on everything in the chat because it would slow me down. I already have too many squirrels. So, all right.